Here's what I think happened. This is not the final word on it, but what I think happened was it was at night. There's several airplanes lined up. There is that Blue Streak 5342, which is a CRJ that they ran into. Right behind them, just a few miles, is American 3130. Everybody has their lights on as they're coming in. I believe the helicopter looked at the American 3130 and said, I've got the traffic in sight, and they never saw the airplane, the CRJ that was right next to them. That's my conjecture. Here's what happened last night. I'm able to secure the actual audio from the incident over the Potomac last night. Let's listen in together.
789, contact don't mark today. Okay. American 3130 for the final.
You're going to see a back and forth now between Reagan Tower and the various aircraft that they have lined up on approach into the airport. This happened at about 8:46 p.m. Last evening, and you can see there's several airplanes lined up. That's typical coming in about that time of night at Reagan. They're talking to American Airlines 3130, which I think is number 2 for the runway. They're telling them to slow down to their final approach speed because they're separating everybody on the way in. It's going to turn out that American 3130 is a key player in what happens here.
Well, American 3130. Pat 25, traffic just off the Wilson Bridge is CRJ.
Pat 25 is the helicopter that ran into the CRJ 700. It was a PSA flight. The flight number is 5342. It would go under the call sign Blue Streak 5342. You don't ever hear them talking to tower. They've already been cleared to land on runway 33. So they would come in on an approach on runway 1, and then they would kind of circle the land on runway 33. It's a little shorter runway, but they take some of the regional jets and they put them on that runway. Pat 25 is the Black Hawk helicopter that is just south of the Woodrow Bridge, and they've just taken off. They're airborne. The tower is saying to them, there's traffic. It's a CRJ. It's at 1,200 feet, lined up for runway 33. Do you have that traffic? Pat 25 is going to call back and say yes.
It's 1,200 feet, start runway 33.
Pat 25 says, has the traffic in sight, request visual separation. What that means is that they're going to take responsibility for visual separation from that aircraft. What happened? Here's what I think happened. This is not the final word on it, but what I think happened was it was at night. There's several airplanes lined up. There is that Blue Streak 5342, which is a CRJ that they ran into. Right behind them, just a few miles, is American 3130. Everybody has their lights on as they're coming in. I believe the helicopter looked at the American 3130 and said, I've got the traffic in sight, and they never saw the airplane, the CRJ that was right next to them. That's my conjecture on what happens.
Special separation. This separation proof. American 1630 tower, runway 1 off wood, traffic direct from runway 33, dispatch 16 off final.
So this is typical stuff that's going on in a busy airport. They're lining somebody up to take off. They're saying, pay attention. I'm going to give you an immediate takeoff here. I've got traffic lining up for runway 33. That's the CRJ that got ran into. And he's on a 6-mile final. And it might be somebody even behind him, but they're lining everybody up to take off and to land.
Whiskey 5307. Keep rolling out to November, South 47 today.
You can see at the bottom of your screen there, the CRJ, the Blue Streak 5342. They're beginning to now kind of come out a little bit to line up to runway, to land on runway 33. They're not going to go right straight down the river. They got to come out a little bit wider and come in. But remember, Pat 25, which is up here, the helicopter at the middle of your screen, they've already said we accept responsibility for visual separation.
American 16.
Okay, so what it's sounding like is that the helicopter was looking at the wrong plane.
Start to 1 star 32014, duck 25, traffic 2 mile elevation, runway 33, no delay, runway 1 clear for immediate
Clears
takeoff.
American to take off.
Clear for takeoff, American 1630.
Here it comes.
CRJ in sight.
Now the tower is seeing what's happening, and they're saying, do you have the CRJ in sight? Because you guys are getting kind of close. And the Pat 25, the helicopter says once again, yeah, and I'm asking for visual separation. Okay, the responsibility is on you then.
Pat 25, pass line is CRJ.
Pitch Cloud has a aircraft in sight, request visual separation.
Okay, so Pat 25 says, has the aircraft in sight, request visual separation. I don't think they had these guys in sight. I think they had the airplane behind them in sight. That's why this is such a tragedy.
Okay, so if you guys can see right here, I believe is the helicopter. And this is the plane. No, this is the plane that they were looking at, but traffic controllers were telling them about this plane. So they were acknowledging, I believe, this plane, and they somehow did not see this plane and ran into it. You'll see this little white dot run into this.
American 4782 by Batten, now for a visual.
American 472, Walker Star, 1 star, 32017.
So you hear somebody in the tower go, oh, and they see what just happened. As you can see in your screen here, the collision took place. The tower has seen it happen in real time. They're human beings. They're reacting just like you and I would. The helicopter ran into the CRJ. The CRJ's airspace was their airspace. In front of them, behind them, on both sides of them, it was a responsibility of the helicopter to maintain visual separation. They even told him a couple times, do you got him in sight? Do you got him in sight? He said, yep, got him in sight. I'm accepting responsibility for the separation. And I think just like when you're driving in a car and you look and you see a car behind the one that almost hit you, you see that car and you didn't see the one right here. And when you turn out in front, sometimes there's a collision. It's really tragic when this happens.
Okay, let's hang 350, 3000, American 3130. Tower, Blue Streak, 5347 is on final. Request runway 33, circle to 33. Second heading for American 3130.
American 3130, go out to left end 2705, maintain 3000.
270 on the heading, 3000.
See how fast he's talking? He's trying to get all these other airplanes out of here.
Crash. This is Alert 3. Crash.
Okay, what's MWAA? It's the Metro Washington Airport Authority. Every airport has some sort of governing authority over it. Many times it's called the Port Authority.
So, damn. Okay, this situation almost it sounds like it's the helicopter's fault because they, like he explained, this pilot explained that the helicopter was letting traffic controller know that, hey, I am taking responsibility of having visual of this plane. But it's so hard to tell because we're looking at it at a distance and we're only just seeing a little explosion from our distance. Man, who do I talk to about this? Because it would be a great idea to have camera with the black box. It records audio of everything that's going on between the pilot and the air traffic controllers. If there is a way to incorporate cameras in the front, back, sides of the plane that also records the moment it departs and lands. That way, anything that happens in the sky, or if tragedies like this happen, we can have a visual that's saved in the black box that can help kind of put the puzzle pieces together of what actually happened. Because with, especially, when people don't make it and everybody passes away, and especially the pilots who were in control, damn, this is so unfortunate. And I'm trying to get my pilot license, actually. That's something I'm actually trying to pursue. And this is some crazy stuff. You really have to know what you're doing, having control of this, especially when you're having other people's lives to be responsible for. Alright guys, this is all for this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.